So, hi everyone. My name is Fanni Sall from Nyim community. First, I would like to ask to just make a quick round with your names and country. I can't promise that I will remember, but it would be really helpful for me to have a picture or hear your voices. So maybe start from here and just around with name and country.
Hi, I'm Adam. I'm from Budapest.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Rafael. I'm from Greece.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Közösség. I'm from Czech Republic.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Dana. I'm from Bulgaria.
I'm Nicola, and I'm also from Czech Republic.
Thank you.
Hey, again, Moana from the Czech Republic as well.
Thanks.
Ilis from Vác, Hungary.
Jack from Greece.
Thank you.
Theodora from Bulgaria.
I'm Violeta from Bulgaria too.
Hello, I'm Akush from Romania.
I'm Zsófi from Hungary.
I'm Norvi from Romania.
I'm Deka from Szombat.
I'm Isti from Romania.
Krista from Romania. Bogi from Transylvania. I'm Gabriela from Transylvania.
I'm Nico, Bulgaria.
I'm Mariam from Bulgaria.
I'm Gergely from Hungary.
I'm Louis from France.
Bianca from Romania. Julia from Romania.
Zoe from Greece. And Mariana from Greece.
But I'm David from Czech Republic.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Maybe you cannot stand on my back. It's a bit strange. Sorry. Okay. I had a request to speak about how our community works, and also I brought some pictures about some gardens we are doing. So we are also I also try to focus on the forest gardening topic, but I start to introduce a bit our community. So our name is Nyim community. Nyim is a small village in Hungary. There, next to Lake Balaton. It sounds strange even in Hungarian, so it's Nyim. So it's a small village of 350 inhabitants, and we are a small international community. And I have a slightly problem with distractions, so I apologize beforehand because of this. So we are a small community in this village, and we are an eco-village initiative. We don't call ourselves eco-village now because we are pretty small. So it's 5 family inside the village, approximately 15 persons, and some kids. And we intended to regenerate this land at the end of the village. It's okay. So which should be the eco-village part kind of our project. And because of historical reasons, we started to move inside the normal village, and it's kind of the campsite before reaching the the mountain, the top of the mountain. And I made a picture about what we have inside the village. With red, I marked the common property or places with common use, and we also have some private houses. I can talk about it a bit later. We have 2 houses which belongs to this eco-village area, and we have many functions which became real in the old village, and we also want to keep that things because it's very valuable that we don't need to bring all the infrastructure up to the place. Also I think in every country it's community is not a legal entity, so we have some organizations. Through that we also accept ESC volunteers, and so do some activities connected to these organizations. but the whole is like a community, and the functions belongs to some organizations. I just wanted to show some faces, our members' faces. Yeah, they are so beautiful. And so we have these people basically in the village, and we also have some remote persons who support us, like facilitators or just joining on the building days or some things like that. So yeah, how we work, we have like this common intention of like having a stronger and closer relationship with each other, and co-creating things and practicing common decision making, and also like if we have some conflict, we have this clear intention to like solve that and grow through that and this kind of things. Of course it's like very difficult, but I mean we can see after 12 years that it's really worth it, and it's really like a growing thing. Every week we spend like 2 hours with like an operative meeting, where we also have like emotional rounds and common decision making, and then we spend every Saturday together the whole day working on some common property, even the common land or like the places inside the village. So it's really like we are kind of colleagues and friends and like family. I mean, just to describe the feeling, because we spend like a lot of time together. So after a few years, you really know these people, and like communication goes much faster. So I really enjoyed that. And we also have like, I mean, maybe I can come back for that later. Also, it's important that in like Hungary, eco-village movement kind of started with more like the physical part of sustainability. So it's more like it was more like when it started like 30 years ago, it was more like how to do the practical things, and there was not much knowledge about community building. So there was, as I know, many issues around this. And our community basically kind of started from this experience, and also with the connection of like the European Eco-Village Network. So we kind of started to learn how to do that, and which is like very important, that basically what we do, so how we do the things, it's kind of more important that how like fast we build or something. So it's like the idea of the human relations are the basis of everything what we do, and it's, yeah, so not really makes sense to have like empty, very ecological houses. So this is the yeah. So our like motto is that we are building a community, and this community will build like the eco-village part. Yeah, and as I said, we have this networking approach also, and connection with GEN, Global Eco-Village Network, the European part, and we're also working on creating a smaller regional network, which I was also interested where you come from, because we also intended to work closer with like neighboring countries, because we kind of recognize that this eco-village building movement is kind of coming from like western parts of Europe, and some of the criteria and some of the, I don't know, framing is more like for that standards, and we think that we can bring these things, and we kind of need to synchronize what's already here, and really like, yeah, learn from that what we can learn, and this would be the purpose. So if you're interested in this kind of things, reach me out, and we can work together. Yeah, also we have like this Movers Festival, this youth month, what you can see. It's like a festival in Hungary, which gathered around permaculture principles, and I am the organizer of the networking stage, let's say. So there will be an English-speaking stage of this festival. I can share later on some links if you're interested in. Yeah, so back to the community. we concentrated to the eco-village part of the project. We already have this property, and we already have one house where a family already lives in this one. This is a hempcrete house, and we are currently building a straw bale house. So we will just have June like a 3-week project where we kind of make a huge next step with this house. And in the left side you can see kind of the original plan of the eco-village, which we kind of will replan after the straw bale house is in the safe stage, because it's a 10-year-old plan, 11 actually, and we learned a lot in these 11 years, of course. So the basic will stay, but we will replan, maybe plan less houses and more forest. So this is from up. You can see here the lake and here the property. I have some pictures about how we built a house. It's pretty beautiful that, for example, we were able to get the straw from the next hill. So it's traveled like 1 kilometer, and we collected it from the field. Also, we could use our own earth to build mud bricks, which is pretty special, that we have just the right consistency. So we, as much as possible, we use the things that we can find right there, but as this is the first house, it has also some compromises, like I don't know, for example, the framing is from like normal wooden storage place or something like this. So about our field, our property, it's like Kids in the Desert. This is the picture's title. So it was like a very, very damaged agriculture land, and one of our main goals, which is kind of almost like a religious type of thing, that we want to heal this place, and we want to regenerate this land and give back to the life and the forest, and also make it our living place. So this was when we bought it, and now it's like still not a forest, but much greener, and we have a lot of small trees around. We had like a very big fight, kind of how to do that, because we have a huge I don't know, population of wild animals around, and we didn't have like the proper protection system, and we needed to learn how to do that. And now we know how to do that, but we don't have the money to to do that way. So we are being creative and find out like small scale and available solutions for protect them. I mean, we have one very good collaboration. I can like advertise the 10 million tree here because we started a very, very good partnership with them, and they helped us to protect 2 hectares from our 26 hectares with like a very proper white fence. So we have this protected area also for like an experiment how it goes with like proper white protection, and I can say after 1 year that it's like goes very well even after 1 year. So we have this small scale solution with them with support, like donation supports, and we also had a project, this fundraising project with this very nice guy, Zoltán Békés, who bicycled to Lisbon to raise money for this purpose. And yeah, you can see some trees here and there. We planted like I think now it's more like it's 5,000 because it's an old presentation, so I forgot to change the number. We planted orchard trees, like fruit trees, bushes, and also forest, like reforestation, kind of small type of trees. So that's how can be it so many, because we planted a lot of like this size. And we also planted a lot of like bigger ones with like bigger holes. Yeah, so this is kind of the other small scale solution for wood protection, for the tree protection. What we like found out with the community, that it's also very like meditative thing to do. and also very like cheap, because we just ask from the village the trees which they would burn anyway, because they don't really use that. So we can protect the village from burning trees basically, and we can use these ones, and this creates like a living place for animal. It provides some shadow for the tree, so it help growing and help keep the moisture around the root, and also of course it protects from like deers and rabbits. So for example, this current tree, what you can see on the left side, it was 2 years ago, it was like this big and like a bonsai, because every year the deer came and like eat it, because it's a very tasty, I don't know what is barkóca berkenye, but this one, so it's like a berry type of fruit tree. And after thank you. So it's kind of like also have some I don't know, healing effect that you see, that you put some branches around and then there's a tree, so it's like certainly something to live for, I think. And on the left side, I tried it in the Forest of Dean, the same thing. Usually I don't have pictures about this, so I just put there. Like another version, like community members with these piles. So we have this interesting process with this huge empty place, which is very hard to relate with, because you just go there and kind of got lost and don't have like objects or things to relate with. And by building these things, actually we found out that it's a very good way to also relate with the place, and it also helped to like build some emotional connection, and then you will recognize the tree what you protected. So it's like I kind of, as an artist, experimenting around this also. And I found it very like beautiful so people just from a distance you can see that there's a tree that you protected, and you can just go there, and it's much easier than like just a stick or something. So I really recommend, if you have like this sensibility about like meditative stuff to do with I don't know branches and stuff, then it's like a very good thing to experiment around. Yeah, it's some like vibe around our events. It's like tree planting, brick making, rocket stove building, straw bale building, and like dyeing plants, dyeing, so textile thing, and some celebrations. Yeah, unfortunately sometimes they call us a sect because we celebrate our like milestones, but it's not the case, so we are just happy around like reaching something. And some pictures about volunteers in our gardens. And also like some result that it was like a big present for us, that one of the volunteers really liked to hike around, and she actually found this very beautiful linden tree in the forest. So now we know that it's there, because we are spending our time mostly in our field because there's a lot to do. So we just recognize that we really need to go like outside also, because it's very valuable. It's just a few hundred meters from us actually. So now we're visiting the tree regularly. And what I put also inside is more like our garden with my husband, because we kind of accidentally created like a little forest and like edible forest experiment. So maybe before like I go into that, maybe if you have some questions about the community, I can answer that, or just go through that also, and then what do you think, guys?
These dying plants do have some maybe workshops about them regularly, or?
Yeah, there was like we have a friend who made experiments around this, but then she found her own place. So now we don't really do that, but it's like an option. Like we can organize these kind of things, and we have some plans. But currently, it's not like an ongoing project.
And where does she live? She lives in a different community or on her own, or
Sorry, I didn't get that.
like this friend, which is she's doing like these dying plants. Does she has some written project? Is it like possible? To find?
Actually, I need to reach her out, but what's around? I just wanted to find her. That how is it going for her now? But what I know that who cooks Ági outside. Her sister actually doing a project in Nagyszékely, and it's like a community-based thing, and they really like. I know that they dedicate. Time for workshops and stuff, so maybe it's worth to ask. I can also show the webpage of them if you're interested.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
I will ask.
yeah. So I know that they there is another like other type of but community project in Nagyszékely, and they have this like small book bindery and also like textile dyeing things and dyeing plants. So I know that they have this project. We also kind of started this kind of thing, and also I'm a bookbinder, so we have like a community bindery, but we had like very serious processes in the community, so I dedicated myself more like facilitation and like supporting community processes. So it's more like an option for us. If someone interested, then we can grow this seed again, but now it's not like really up. But I organize bookbinding workshops. So.
I'm wondering how did you start this eco community, and who was it at first? How did you find people that wanted to join? How it happened? The short.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I skipped that part. That yeah, so I was already mentioned that in Hungary there was a wave like 30 years ago of founding this eco-village projects, and our founder was also a founder of like another project, like I mean an eco-village initiative, and yeah, she spent many years with community projects, and somehow it was what she realized, and also at the end she left that project, that she found more important the community building part and focusing to how to do it, how to learn being horizontal, how to learn being not like follow this pattern of authority, like somebody says what to do and that's it, kind of. I mean, I make it very simple, and I kind of that age, so I'm just 30, so I wasn't there, of course. But yeah, so it was kind of an experience for her. Also, she's a transpersonal psychologist, so she have a lot of experience with this like holistic and therapeutic work with groups. So she kind of had this like feeling what would be the good direction, and as they already had the connection through this existing eco-village with the eco-village network, her son went to some like networking events and trainings, and once he came back with like this experience that actually there's a methodology and like toolkit what you can use for like solving the first steps and finding out how your community would work good. And he shared this with her mother, and they like realized that it's kind of the same thing, what she feels as a psychologist and as like a community member of these other initiatives, and what he just learned. So they decided to try to start one based on this experience. And first it was like a few friends, and then they kind of made a call. It was like before like social media like this, so it's like it went via like sending email and calling for that. And yeah, so there was a big like dreaming stage with many people, and they worked out what are the values they want to follow. Of course, like the founders already have this strong intention of creating the community part, so they also organized like a non-violent communication course, went together for that. Also our founder is a teacher of autogene training. If you know that, it's a kind of like self-healing relaxation technique. She also provided this course for the members, so they went through these things. They met weekly and built their like values, and parallelly they started to search for the land after they set up the criteria what they are looking for. So the community was first, and then they spent like 2 years with seeing places, and of course it was a very tough project, like process, because some of the members fell in love with some place, which was not good for the whole project. But so it was like very intense process. But then they found Nyim, and that was like another chapter of the community to how to settle down there and how to start life there. So that was the part when I joined, actually. So yeah, it was. I answered the question. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So we, as I said, that we started to buy some places in the village because it wasn't possible to. Yeah, I didn't say that actually, but we had like a lot of legal issues how to start to build in our place, because yeah, we found out that it's very very difficult. It took us like 7 years to arrange the legal situation of the place to make it like legally possible to build houses there. We had like a lot of suffering on the Hungarian, I don't know, land ownership law, let's say. It's like, I don't go into details. If you're interested, I can explain later, I think. But yeah, we started to buy these places in the village, and we also bought one with my husband. And that was like when we bought it, it looked like this. We had like altogether like 2 trees in the whole area. And yeah, and our founder is our neighbor, so we have like 2 gardens connected, and we kind of tried it out. It's more like how to leave it like just next to each other, and it's really nice. But we will move up to the field also. So you can see that it's like an empty field. It was a cornfield that year. We started to. So we had this intention of observing what's happening if we just make like small interventions. It's also like a principle of permaculture that you make like small interventions and observing what's happening, and then based on the like outcome you plan the next intervention, let's say. Also, it helped that we didn't have money at all, so it's like it helps this kind of processes, I think. So we planted like I don't know, bee supporting mixture. I don't know how to say that. This pollinators. Yeah, pollinators mixture, and like soil healing mixture. So there was. Facilia, for example, and some nitrogen fixing plants, and so there is like this mixture with radish and yeah, and so we just planted that, and for like 2 years we just observed how the patterns changing, like the more wet area, how it's different, and we just cut it like little paths and make like a mosaic pattern. So we know that it's very good to keep like the shadow, but also we are in the middle of the village. We also had some issues around. They kind of sue us 1 year when it looked like too chaotic. So we just made this. After these 2 trees, there is a small stream, which is unfortunately handled by the water management. I don't know, office, or how to say that. So we had these beautiful bushes there. They are not there anymore, of course, because they destroyed everything. But yeah, we started to plant some trees in the like. Yeah, so we have like a vegetable garden part, which is like here close to the house, and at the back part it just started to grow by itself. So we have a big flood in the village once, and then many small trees started to came up, and we just didn't kill them basically. So it is mostly poplar and different types of willows, and also many like wild herbs started to came up, and so it was more like just observing what's happening and make it like I don't know, acceptable for the village, because it was like a big I don't know, bush basically, and it wasn't like that nice at the beginning for them. They even sued us, as I said. So it's like year by year how it grew up, and now we kind of have this little forest vibe. So it's really shady, and the trees are like still very small, but a lot of life there. So we have like a lot of wild birds and like even ducks, which is very funny because we don't have a lake, but so, and pheasants, and yeah, so it's like a little, I don't know, living place for many species. And we slowly started to plant also some other trees, to, for example, oaks, which is really like to be in the shadow. So for like have a happy oak, it's very good in if you plant them already in the shadow. So we started to do that and plant some fruit trees. So we experimenting around using this shady place and turn into a more like edible resource, let's say. So yeah, and basically it's the wild story of our garden. We kind of see the same process in our 26 hectare, that if you just leave it, many trees came, and you just need to kind of learn to recognize the trees and have a like a good I don't know, rhythm to make it like acceptable for the surrounding. It's and also kind of like leave place for yourself to observe what's happening, because it's a lot. So even our land is very dry, and the soil is much poorer than this place. But we can see where we have this 2 hectare, which is surrounded by fence, already full of little trees like this big. So it's yeah, it's something very hopeful, I think. So even in a very destroyed agriculture land. Yeah.
And you need to build a fence to protect the trees from the deers and
yeah, we had this very idealistic expectation, or like idea that it's like a very bad message to build a fence, and we don't want to do that. Then we realized that yeah, we need a fence. So as I said, we also do this individual like meditative process, which is very beautiful, and where we managed to do that, it works. But it took like I don't know, half an hour to build one, and we have like thousands of trees. So it's like yeah, if we could do that, we would really like make this proper white fence all around, and maybe remove it 10 years or something. So it's when the tree is like strong enough to. So we don't want to lock out animals, of course. There is like a big issue around having too small living place for like overfeeded wild animal, but for not destroy what you started, you need to have like a protected place, or like a lot of branches and time. Also, there are some like I also saw that you use like branches around to like build fences. They also, if they have the resource, it can be built by like branch piles also. So there are like some alternatives, but for 26 hectare, it's more than 2 kilometers around. So it's yeah. And we waited enough to not build this, and we have like this high material prices. So it's like a bit like over the question. So if some of you are millionaire, then like we would appreciate that. But yeah, so we are kind of like try to make the next steps with that, and it can be seen that if they reach a certain high, it's kind of okay then. Yeah. So about the vegetable garden part, it's also like a very like so it's more like an orchard, and we also have a vegetable garden there. We have this. We don't really dig, so basically we dig when we plant trees and when we have like potatoes and they are like too deep or something, but we are more like experimenting around deep mulching and different kind of mulching techniques, and it's a pretty important thing that, so my husband is like an ecologist, biologist, experimenting type of guy, so he sees our garden more like a living place and like this experiment and the place of coexist than a resource of food. We have although a lot of vegetables from there, but the priority is to like heal the soil and like find out what's already happy there and don't force things which are not happy there. So I really like this vibe. And after these years, I think it's like 7 years now. This is very visible, so you can see that we have like this humus. And this is our original soil. It's very clayey, like I don't know what is loess. It's not like clay, but it's very like something that you can build a house from. So it's obviously not for really for plants. So it's really nice, and we have a lot of like root vegetables which are very happy there. So for example, this type of sweet potato. 2 years ago it was maximum like this size and this thick, and it's like very like you can really measure that how your soil is going softer and richer based on this type of vegetables. And yeah, some pictures about the garden and the gardener there. Actually, I would really loved to involve, I mean, we wanted to come together to do this presentation because of course he can share more about this garden as he's a biologist, but he couldn't come, so it's just me. And yeah, basically I think that was me. So if you have any questions or...
Are you using some recycled materials like old tires, bottles, glass, plastic, etc.?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we our first resource is just see what's around and kind of try to reuse it. In the garden, we used more like wood parts, which are not good anymore to build, but it can be good for making a raised bed or like make just the edge of the vegetable bed. And we also, yeah, so we use some recycled things. Also, we collect the water in this recycled cube type of thing. And yeah. I mean, now it's that we want to make like a more proper water collecting system actually. But yeah, what is important, we kind of try to not really use plastic in the garden, because we experience that we are just, I mean, it's a lot of like thinking to keep in track that where are they, and it's like easy to forget. So once we did, and we never did again. So we use things which is not cause any problem if it stays there. So it's just like composting or yeah. But we also have like a community house, and we just I mean, our first ESC volunteer just arrived like 2 weeks before, and we just built like herb spiral from recycled material, just from recycled material. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, so this garden over there at the bottom left, for example, is watered from an ABC container, right?
Yeah, some parts, but we try to not water also. I mean, it's kind of like, as I said, an intention to observe what's happening there already, and yeah, we water some parts, but sometimes we don't have water anymore, and then we just water the very needed parts. We actually don't collect enough water that we could, so we need to improve our water collection system.
And are you watering it in a gravitational way?
Yeah.
Okay, without pump and thing?
No, because
okay,
the
nice,
house is upper, and we're collecting the water like from the house, and it's just like a pipe which goes down, and now we just use it like this. It could be better in like a sense that it could be more like just dropping or something, but as it's really like chaotic, it's better for us to just bring the water where it's needed. Yeah.
From the community area, like the big land, 20-some hectares, are you planning to like the whole community to build houses there and move there as a community, like make another small village area on the land, or what's your?
Yeah, I can go back to Yeah, so some members will not move there because they created like their life in the village, but it's still a goal to create their like neighboring place. And we also have the intention of having as much as possible commonly owned houses, and then the members can rent it. So for example, this Trobia house also belongs to our association, and it's also experimenting around this because we also don't want to so we want to make it possible to make private houses also, but of course it's like a big commitment, and so we observe that it's kind of like a tricky thing to if someone needs to move away. So our intention to live in this place with people who want to really collaborate, and we don't really want someone who just moves there because the view is nice, or like it's really a strong thing that so if I go there, I feel really safe because I know that everyone who goes there intended to heal this place, and you will not have like burning plastic and like pesticides and any kind of like intentional this kind of acts. And yeah, so we want to and the land is a common property, so it's owned by the members and the agriculture corporation, which has the same members. It rented back, so it's kind of like we don't slice it up and give it to like private, but we have it as a common, and if someone wants to use some part, there's an agreement and they can do that, and they can feel more like their part, but it still belongs to others also. And I think it's like a very kind of hard thing to understand that I mean in this region especially, that if something is common, it not means that it's like nobody's. It's actually more than than just mine. So it can be mine, but also it can be yours at the same time. And we try to, heal these things also from the past, let's say. So.
Can you explain the plans on where you have the food forest area, garden ponds?
Yeah.
I see a plan over there, so we can understand the design better.
I can also go back first here to see that we have it's like a nature protected area here. It's a big forest, so we are just like kind of cut it out from the forest. It should be a forest, it's for sure. And we want to bring back the forest like in these edge areas, but maybe, so this is the part that we want to kind of rethink, that how much and how exactly. And this 2 hectare what I just mentioned, which is protected good, it's like this 2 hectare, and this is an orchard part. Actually, we call this place Whale Back because it's like a big whale. And yeah, it's like an orchard here, and this is the intensive like reforestation area where we planted a lot of trees with the 10 million tree. And also like here is a reforestation area, but we will just redesign that. So there are many trees, but it should be much more in my opinion. But also we have this plan of having like grass fields for animals. So we also want to keep animals, but right now we are not there to take this responsibility. But we know that it would be the best for the land to have animals there and regenerate with that. And yeah, this is another small orchard part here, and also this basically we started with inviting experts to like map the whole area, which part is better for what kind of plants and for living, and how is the water going, and how is the wind, and how will it if the trees grows. Maybe we thought a bit too much at the beginning, but I mean it's completely makes sense, but the trees not grown that fast. So it's like the wind's kind of the same as like 10 years ago, let's say. So yeah, and we have this like living area in the middle, which is kind of around this big swale. So you can see this one. It's like a swale, and it was very efficient because beforehand the village had like much bigger floods, like mud floods, and it kind of came from this for this reason. It still has, because there is like still a wild open area, but it's much better now. And we also made some new ones here this year. This you can see also the lines maybe that the water comes here. So we made also 2 like protection area here. And we also collaborated with the municipality to renew the village organization plan. I think as this is the term, but I'm not sure.
So you have to approve by the government, like document building the house?
Yeah, they are like, yeah, these are legal.
You need the approval.
We want to make it like, I mean, it's like a transparent thing, and of course, I mean, I know that many people can do like, but we are a community, and we have, I mean, we have this intention to, even it's hard, that like make the kind of the path or something. So there is an example. Also, we collaborated the municipality, and this area is like a special eco-village building area. And this part is like a higher percent of, so you can build more on this area. So it's like on the village's plan, and it's kind of a big thing. So yeah, and other functions will change. For example, we plan the lake down here, but there's like in the exact point we have a whale now. And also after this plan, we managed to have this part of the land also. It's other 4 hectare. So we know that we need to make like kind of, it will stay the big lines, but we, for example, we don't. I think we will like decrease a bit the number of the houses, because it's just like it's visible that it grows much slower. Also, we're thinking of how to make like rentable, like I don't know, tiny houses, for example. But we will be in the planning stage after we don't have this urgent situation with this house, which is halfly done. So it's, yeah. And about this house, the purpose is to like I don't know, to have the experience of build a house actually there. This is the first important goal for us, and have as a community house, but also a rentable place for the members. So it can be used by like a couple or like a small family or something, but not for like 10 years or something like this, but for like a smaller time, and during the time finding out how to build the next ones.
How many livable houses, like not community buildings, but livable houses are you planning on this land?
You can see that was the plan, but actually, yeah, I mean it's like 20 families what we imagined, but we are growing much slower, and we think that it will stay like this, and I think we will bit like rearrange these numbers anyway, and also that when it was planned. We didn't know that we will move in the village, which kind of like made the whole setup different. I think it's, and we think that it's also very beneficial, because then we have much more surface with the village to connect, and we have different resources of gardens and placings and neighbors, and yeah, much more connections. And it's also not, it was not a fact when we did this plan. You want to ask?
Yeah, I want to ask something. How you mentioned that you have EVS volunteers, and I want to ask to be please a little bit more detailed how the work is organized in the place. I mean, do you rely only on a volunteerly basis, or some kind of workshops? And also, are the locals involved in the project, and what do they think about it?
Okay. Ooh, yeah. It's many questions. Start with the volunteers. First, I'll start with that I mentioned that we have this system with the community that every week we work together one day. It's usually Saturday, sometimes it's Sunday. If the village has an event, then we dedicate this common work to the village. So it's like it's a priority to take part of the village things. So for example, last week there was a village organizer day, like clean up and arranging places, and then that was the common work.
So you're not working only in this area, you're working in the village also?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because we are villagers, and yeah. So,
nice.
we are not like separated. So, unfortunately, from outside, it can be seen like this, because we define ourselves as a community, and we have like much more responsibility together than it's usual, because we own together this place. People put money, people put energy all the time. They basically put the energy that you put into your family sometimes. So it's like it's not like usual and not expectable from like it's still this decision, and we made this decision. So about the volunteers, we involve them, of course, to this weekend works. And we are just around like about like planning how will we organize the week with them, because actually 2 volunteers just arriving today, and my husband just picking them up in Siófok. So it's like Sunday and Monday will be probably the free day for them, and they take a part of this Saturday work. And we also work during the week with them on community properties, and also they visiting the community members' private gardens. We have like kind of a balancing system how to do it good. So the priority is to improve the common because it's the more like fragile, because everybody also have their own. But then if like an urgent situation in some member's place, then it's also a priority to help each other. And also we want to involve villagers who are interested to collaborate. So we already started to arrange some connections. So it's like kind of more beneficial for the village also. Then we have the volunteers here, and also more interesting for the volunteers to have more connection with the village. We want to put like an extra focus on learning together the community building part. So last year was the first year when we had ESC volunteers, and we already find out a system to how to support their living together process. And we want to improve it more. We also offer like extra mentoring. So it's like we have of course the mentoring what's in the ESC system, but we put like more than this. So it's like, yeah.
Okay, and how many members are in the society? I mean, in the community?
Yeah, it's 10 in the village, plus like 6 or 7 kids, and 5 in other like capital and in other country. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like usually a question that how the like capital members taking part of the community life. So they are coming on the common working days usually. Mm-hmm. And also some of them are very good facilitators, and it's very beneficial to have some ones who are very good friends of everyone but not involved in the daily life, so they can be more like insider, outsider, supporter role. Yeah. You had other questions, but I don't remember. Sorry. You also don't, okay.
I have a question. What is your cleaning system? Like how when you have a house?
Very good question, and our major issue. Maybe it's connected that I'm a like very messy person, unfortunately, and I'm very active in the community. So but yeah, we just in the process of figuring out how it can be a good system, and 2 friends just came to the community from another community, and they started to set up a system. So we are just in the process of finding it out. But I mean, they obviously have like a very good sense of how to structure this kind of things. So we kind of synchronize our like common decision making and involving the volunteers system with their good skills. But yeah, for example, the volunteers task also to like maintain the house. So we will, how to organize work. We will have a day which is about like cleaning up the house together, and we will find out who like to do what kind of, and yeah. So it's on the way to figure it out. Good.
Okay. Well, then if for the system are responsible people from outside, do you identify with the system?
Yeah, but they live there for half year, so it's. I mean, if of course it's not their own, but for that half year they dedicate it to like. I mean, they are also motivated, I think, to have a good surrounding for that half year, and it's already involved in the interviews that this is a part of the project. So if you're interested in like improving this kind of things and creating a garden and experimenting around like this kind of things, then it's a place for that also. And of course we support I mean, we live 2 minutes from this house, and we go there almost every day and be with them, and yeah. But I experienced that sometimes volunteers come like for just visit, and they instantly can connect with the vibe and find out some really good, really useful stuff. And we already have that system that we know that what is like field of freedom, let's say, that you can do anything with that part or that part, but we know that what is something that we need to take a common decision about. So for example, our first volunteer just had this idea that he wants to build this herb spiral, and I know that the community will probably like really like it, and I mean, I was sure that they will like it. I wasn't sure that the placing is good for everyone, so I asked them to come together and see that it's a good place. So there was like a very quick decision, for example. But we know that we already have like vegetable beds around the house, and it's like can anything done there which not involves pesticides and too much shoveling. So yeah.
What kind of mixture do you use for the bricks for the house?
Yeah, it's we have this loess like soil. It's like this clay soil, and we just use straw to mix with that. So we I can find where it was. Sorry, it's here. Oh, it's not the fresh picture because we just digged a hole basically, and we had like this size hole in the ground, and we made a water collecting space, and we digged a lot of ground like earth out, and we used that for making the bricks and making all the plastering, and depends on the layer we yeah. Sorry if you have a conversation, just I don't know, so I can't really speak if you also speak. Okay. So yeah, so sometimes we use also sand, but we don't need to use clay, for example, with this earth, just more like sand. Yeah. Yeah, actually now I say it, we couldn't manage to finish this part for this year, so we had the idea from a friend to kind of spray it with like watery mixture, and for that we put a lot of clay, but otherwise we don't use extra clay. And also it's worth to mention that there is like a natural builders organization very close to us in Tangod, and they collect almost everybody in Hungary who even like builder specialists or architects on this eco-building field, and they are like in collaboration with us. Also the house's architect, Gabriela Revis, is the president of the Hungarian Strawberry Association, and we build these houses in collaboration with them. So we organize building days together, and yeah, so also we organize our own building days. For example, last year we spent almost all the weekends with making mud bricks and building the wall. But the bigger moves where we need more like architecture knowledge or like special knowledge, then we do that with them. Actually, we will have at June like a 3-week group volunteering event, and our main task will be to do that with Gabriela. So it's like.
Okay, and about the bricks, are you letting them on sun to dry or you bake them?
No, we just let them dry.
On sun,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And what kind of, did you make the chaton?
Yeah, it's like a frame. It's like a very simple frame. We learned during we did it that how it is like 5 times faster than we started. So it's like you have this frame. You can see actually here one. I don't have like a closer picture about that, but yeah, it's like very simple. Just a frame with like 2 parts that you can handle. Yeah. And it's good to soak them in water, and then you don't need to like make an effort to remove them because they just very slip out. Yeah.
Do you have the hay bales and you plaster them with mud on both sides, or what do you use the bricks for?
We use them for building the inner part of the wall. From outside we just do the plastering, and from inside we build this wall. Yeah.
I have a question, another question on reforestation, the area which you showed. Are you letting the forest to grow into your land, or are you planting the trees that are native in the forest, or are you planting a mixture of fruit trees in the area which you showed?
Actually, like both of them that you said. I mean, we of course leave the trees which are coming by themselves and try to find them and protect them also. We plant the species which are local and more like dry resistant. And we also try to figure out what to do with the invasive species. So we are like consult with experts on that, because we have a lot of I don't know what's like even in Hungarian, but so we have some invasive species, and we also deal with that. Yeah, and we also plant more like wild fruit trees inside the forest, and there are also many wild fruit trees which are growing by themselves. So we are planning to experiment with that also, to like put the species which we want on them, and like
Like to graft them?
Yeah. Also we planned it's actually pretty beautiful, because the expert who we asked to help us to design the tree planting in the first case, like when we made this first plan 11 years ago, he's the colleague of the expert of the 10 million tree, who we like collaborated to, based on the experience, replan the planting. Yeah. So we have like a system of making like a small circle of like bigger trees, and inside the circle we plant more like bushes and smaller type of things, and outside the circle it's like more the small type of forestation trees, and then we have like not that it's more like mandalas, like 100-meter kind of mandalas, and there's like not this just like same pattern or something, but some like waving. So we try to make this kind of diversity also. Yeah, and also to leave out some places for just cutting the grass. How are we with time?
10 minutes to 1.
Okay, cool. Then maybe if you have some more questions I can answer, but we can also close then.
We really like mandala gardens.
Yeah, we also very much. Actually, I have one little story which is maybe fits here. We started to make inside this well-protected area. We also experimenting with just mulching, because there we don't need the white protection kind of nest, but we really need the make it more moisturous and richen the soil kind of thing. So we experimented with having leaves from the municipality and different layering of like leaves and hay and straw and branches, and make this very small mandalas around the trees. And we have like many types, and actually some of the volunteers who we made this with, they came back and recognized what was there. It's like super nice, I think, because if you plant like few hundred trees, you will not really recognize, or just you can remember that maybe that was the area or something, but if you build this small thing, you can like really relate that I planted this tree. And so it was really nice that some of them came back and recognized. And also it's like it was kind of maybe if you organize this kind of volunteering things at your home or something, I think it's very useful to know that. Maybe you already know that so if many people come, sometimes there is this very like activist, so save the world attitude, just like fast and lot and like and then the trees die because they are not planted properly. So it's like we have some experiences about this, and many people of course don't know really the trees anatomy, and so I think it's very important with like people to work with, to like help them arrive and slow down and do some like you really like there is a life and we want it to live afterwards, and and kind of maybe it can be like spiritual, but it can be also just very practical, that just pay attention of what we are doing and really dedicate the time, and maybe it feels slow, but actually it's the price of do it right, and actually it's the value also, because it's very beautiful to do. So it's like yeah, it was my main I don't know, outcome after planting all these trees, that it's really important to how to begin and what attitude to do that. Because then we also had like few hundreds dried out trees, because they were like, it's a very simple method how to plant, but it can be messed up. So yeah, I think it's great.
Could you please show again the landscape from the air?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
This?
It's beautiful.
Any chance where the whale is?
Yeah, it's here. Actually, it's here. Yeah, it's this one. Yeah. No. Yeah, it was there. Just it's a bit like different from the angle, but yeah, you can see that there is a line of water. There is a line like it's how it goes down, and there is one, and it's like.